When I need answers about anything to do with personal growth, I go straight to my mom and my aunt. Here they are, Priscilla Babin and Tina Gilliatt with the sister sauce.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Sister Sauce. I am Tina Gilliatt, and I'm here with my lovely sister, Priscilla Babbitt.
Hello.
Priscilla, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing.
You're doing, are you stressed like me?
No, well, not really. I'm not really stressed like you. Uh, sorry. Things are starting to roll downhill for the end of the school year, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like it's all downhill from here. That everything's rapidly turning into May, you know.
Downhill as in the race is easier, or downhill as in you're plummeting to your death?
Um, I don't know if it's so much easier, but it's just like everything's moving quickly and I can feel summer coming, you know? Like
Yeah.
I can smell it, you know. So like prom is tonight.
Ooh.
So I am the driver from our house to the restaurant for pre-prom meal. So I cleaned my whole car inside and out yesterday. That was exhausting, but I got it done and cleaning up the house so it looks decent for this evening. And then uh what else is coming up? There's, it's junior year in seventh grade, so we don't have anything else big after prom. Just help and study for tests, and then that's it. So
Awesome.
not too much. And of course, my home improvement is still going on, and that's going well. It's getting really the finishing touches are starting to happen. Tiles going in, so that's cool. And I've started
That's
doing
always nice.
my own, my do it myself stuff has started to commence. I got my garden kind of under control. If anybody has any advice on how to keep cats from pooping in your garden, let me know.
Your little feral cat community is rebelling
Yeah,
on you, huh?
they're marking me as their own.
Oh, that's a shame. So I am speaking at a conference tonight, and I'm stressed about it, but I'm really excited. It's been a while since I've done any presentations, especially of this magnitude. It's a 30 to 45-minute presentation. So it's a lot to remember, but I'm really excited about the content. I'll be talking all about Toastmasters and how it can help you in your work and professional journey. And so I'm looking forward to it. It's super exciting, and I will be singing in my presentation. By the time our listeners hear this recording, though, it'll be over. I
Yeah.
hope that I'll be able to report good news in our next podcast that it went well.
I'm gonna preempt you and say that it's been great.
Oh,
You
there
did
you
a good
go. All right. Well, do you have any hot sauce you'd like to share with us today?
I do. I do have hot sauce. And it's a little bit reminiscent of a line from Into the Woods. I don't know if everybody has seen Into the Woods, and I don't remember, honestly, I don't remember if it was in the movie version or not, which it got introduced to a much wider audience when they put it in a movie, but they, it was somewhat edited from the original Broadway production, so I'm not sure. But there is a line in Into the Woods which, if you don't know, Into the Woods is a mix of a bunch of different fairy tales, with Jack and the Beanstalk being the central one, with other stories around it. And there's a scene when toward the end, I don't want to spoil it, but there's a scene toward the end where Cinderella admits, sometimes I actually enjoy cleaning. And there are certain things that I find cathartic, like washing dishes and loading the dishwasher. I hate putting dishes away. Hate it. But the rinsing, the pre-rinsing and loading the dishwasher, I like doing that. I don't know what it is about that, but I don't like the unloading. But and I hate vacuuming because in my house it seems to be there's still dirt everywhere. And I'm constantly, you know, looking behind myself going, oh, there's some more dirt behind me. It just moves the dirt around. I don't know. But my hot sauce for today is that sometimes cleaning can be fun, and sometimes the results of the cleaning can make you feel pretty good. So yesterday, like I said, I washed the inside. I didn't wash the inside of my car. I wiped the windows and I vacuumed it really good. And if you need a car cleaning tip, if you have a lot of lint and cat hair or dog hair for any kind of upholstery, really, but especially on that carpet that you have in your car, that's that dense stuff. There's this little like squeegee thing that you can get online. And I can't think of what it's called, but it looks like a little credit card size thing, and it has little rubber all around the edges, and you use it to scrape your carpet and it pulls all those little fuzz out. And so I did that all over. And my car, for some reason, I have a Honda CRV and I don't know what it is. Anytime my kids hit any of the surfaces in there with a bag or their shoes or whatever, it makes this like white chalky stuff. I don't know what that is, but it comes right off. But I wiped all of the inside down and the windows, and I washed the whole outside of the car, and then I dried it. And then it's sitting under my holly tree, so it had a bunch of junk on it this morning, but it was clean at some point. So but it was all nice and clean. And this morning, going to get back in it to leave for school, and not just me, the kids too, it was very satisfying. It was very like, oh, this is nice getting into a clean vehicle. And I know when I come home and the dishes are all in the sink because I didn't have time to do them the night before, or or it's the end of the day and the dishes are staring at me, it's just kind of sucks the life out of you, doesn't it?
Yeah,
But then when it's all clean, everything's put away, and you think, oh, I need to go do that, and you go look and there's nothing there.
yeah, yeah.
It really sparks joy, as Marie Kondo would
Oh
say.
yeah, yeah. And you know that we've been thinking about listing our house, and we are planning on listing it before the month's over. But the it's kind of a catch-22. I really love having a big house, and I look forward to moving to a smaller house because it's less to clean, and also just we have stairs, and the stairs are great, but when you're carrying laundry baskets up and down and heavy blankets and things like that. I told Livia if she throws her weighted blanket in the laundry one more time, I'm going to murder her. Because not only is it a pain to wash, but then it's got to be carried up and down the stairs. But the flip side of it is smaller houses, while they're easier to clean, don't always have the storage to put things away. And so then you feel like you can never get that everything put away. And I guess the trick is to downsize. But I mean, it's crazy how we went from 2012 of having only ownership of things that would fit completely in the back of a pickup truck after we lost
Mhm.
everything from the hurricane. Everything we owned fit in the back of a pickup truck.
Mm.
Now it would take two large moving vans, I think, just to get our small stuff.
Mhm.
I can't believe how much stuff we have accumulated. And you
Yeah.
know that we're pretty good about tossing things and passing things along to other people. I've been doing a lot of that lately.
Mm.
Should be,
Yeah, it really does pile up. But
oh,
that's another
oh
thing,
yeah.
that clearing stuff out. It's a different form of cleaning. It's
Yeah, that's
different, but
definitely cathartic. Yeah.
yeah.
Uh, okay, I'm going to share a secret of AJ's. He's obsessed with spacing clothes out in the closet to where the hangers are like equally distanced apart. And I've always laughed at it and thought it was so funny. And he gets frustrated with me if I go and hang clothes up in his closet and I'll like shove everything over and put the clothes in. And the other day, he put my clothes away and he spaced all my hangers. And I had to admit, it looked pretty cool. But then
That's
I sent
funny.
Livia in my closet last night when I was off at the store. I called her and I said, "Can you do me a favor and go look for this dress in the closet and tell me
I
what
know.
the color is on the bottom?" I'm trying to remember what color it was because I was about to get my nails polished and didn't want to use a polish that conflicted. In my mind, I thought it was like a red or a hot pink or something, but it turned out it was just green. But she went in there and like shoved all my clothes to the side looking for the dress that I was telling her. And then the stupid dress is too big for me, but
Uh,
oh well, I digress. But I agree with you. I love every once in a while. I don't always like the process of cleaning, but definitely after it's done, oh, I do love
mhm.
it. We've tried to
Yeah.
really stay on top of our cars because AJ drives for Lyft, and so he has to have a clean car when he's driving for Lyft. And I'm thinking, why am I so obsessed with my car? He doesn't use my car to drive for Lyft, but it is nice to have a clean car.
Mhm. It
It
feels
makes me
good to
like
have order
when my
and
car's getting dirty.
mhm.
Yep, yep, yep. All right. Well, today we have a great topic we're talking about. It is National Mental Health Awareness Month, May 2024. And we are going to be sharing some statistics about mental health as well as some help that you can get and some ideas to help other people. And so we'll start out just by mentioning that I guess it's NAMI. I don't know if they say
Mhm.
NAMI or NAMI. My friend
I'm not
Vanessa
sure.
actually does some work for them, but I think it's NAMI or is it NAMI?
I don't know.
Okay, it's the National Alliance of Mental Illness, so NAMI.org. And you guys, if you've never been on their website, you should check it out because they have some incredible resources. And so for the month of May, they have a campaign going on called Take the Moment. And it's basically trying to foster dialogues and just open up the conversation and get people to be more empathic toward or empathetic toward the people who suffer from, I shouldn't say that, who are afflicted with mental illnesses and and just understand
Mhm.
and be able to support people and families that are struggling with that.
Mhm.
And so we even have some suggestions from them on language you should use. So, Priscilla, you want to start sharing the statistics and we can alternate?
Sure. Um, we have a whole bunch of statistics that are in NAMIs or NAMIs, however you say it,
We're going to
mental
say
health.
NAMIs.
Okay, let's say NAMIs. I think I keep wanting to say NAMI because there's a shoe store near us that's called Shoe Nami, like it's a play
Oh
on
yeah,
tsunami.
yeah.
And so I have that that in my head.
We should have watched one of their
Um,
videos and see how they say it. But I'm pretty sure Vanessa says NAMI, but I might be
it
wrong.
makes sense. It makes more sense than NAMI. So this is from their Mental Health Awareness Month toolkit. These are some statistics. The first one is 1 in 5 US adults experience mental illness each year, and only half of them receive treatment.
Wow.
Yeah. And
When I was looking at these statistics last night, I was thinking all of them, pretty much all of them surprised me. I was a little unnerved by them. All right, so
oh,
the second
yep.
statistic is that 1 in 20 US adults experience a serious mental illness each year. So that's 5%. And
Mhm.
only half of them receive, no, I'm sorry, only two-thirds of them receive treatment. So a serious
Mhm.
mental health illness, mental illness. That's crazy.
Mhm. The next one is 1 in 6 US youth experience a mental health condition each year, and only half of them receive treatment.
It's such
And I think a
encouraging.
lot of kids just don't, parents write stuff off as being just kids being kids.
Yeah, it's the truth. And a lot of times kids don't open up with their parents about things like that.
Hmm.
It's not until they're adults and they tell you, I struggled with this my whole childhood. And you're like, why didn't you say something?
Mm.
My own family, Livia, didn't tell me a lot of the things she was going through as a child because she felt like we had so much on our plate dealing with PJ, who struggled with addiction. And so it's made me sad when she told me that she didn't tell me that, but she had her reason. And that was actually a very kind reason. She didn't want to burden us, but still, and I keep wanting to scream at her now, like, you have to tell us when something's wrong. We want to help. Yeah. So it's not always the parents' fault, but it's definitely a struggle for young people. And I think it's a reason why a lot of young people self-medicate too.
Yeah. Also, I think it's important to note that ADHD and autism and some other disorders that we call disorders are also classified as mental illness.
This is
And
true.
so a lot of stuff gets undiagnosed, and some of it's just, he or she is a bad kid or whatever, or
Yeah.
a wild
Yeah.
kid or doesn't pay attention or whatever. But there's something behind it, because it doesn't get diagnosed.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so true. And it's why special education in schools is so important, that
Hmm.
they have the right kind of people. I'm thankful that Livia's first school that she was at did not catch her ADHD, but the second one that she went to was wonderful. And they took care of everything. I had to actually get an independent review of Livia to get her diagnosed. All right, so the next statistic is 50% of all lifetime mental illness begins by age 14. 14, and 75% by age 24. So if you're going to struggle, basically, if you're going to be someone who struggles with depression or bipolar or some other ADHD or some other mental health issue, it will typically rear its head by the time you're 14, if not
Hmm.
then by 24 for sure.
Yeah, I know like certain ones, like especially like schizophrenia and stuff like that, the more severe things they usually present in your late teens, early 20s.
Yeah.
So if that gives it some perspective, I guess, or some parameters.
Yeah.
Then the average daily, oh, excuse me, not daily, the average delay between onset of mental illness symptoms and the treatment is 11 years.
Wow.
That's pretty wild that it
A
takes
lot
that
can
long.
happen in 11 years.
Mm-hmm.
That is just insane to me.
Yeah.
122 million people live in mental health professional shortage areas. So,
Mm,
in other words, they live in areas where they can't get the help they need because of shortages.
mm, that's a shame.
Crazy.
In 2020, 1 in 5 young people reported that the pandemic had a significant negative impact on their mental health. That doesn't surprise me at
Not
all.
at all. Not at all. Yeah, I've struggled a lot with anxiety, and I have always blamed it on grief because it seemed like it started like within a year or so after PJ died. But I have a couple of friends who disagree with me, and they think my anxiety is because of COVID and that I
Mm.
got away from my usual routines. And so now I'm anxious over everything. But yeah, COVID was really difficult for a lot of people.
Yeah.
In 2020 also, there was a 31% increase in mental health related emergency department visits. So you've got
Wow.
all these people that are trying to avoid COVID, but they're having to go to the hospital for mental health issues.
Hmm. Yeah, people being all, you know, cooped up in their houses, I'm sure
And
was a
this
big
was,
part of it, and worrying about themselves or their loved ones getting sick.
yeah. And it's actually, it says it was among adolescents. So it's primarily younger people that were impacted. And I guess because, that's their active part of their life. And then all of a sudden that's shut down, all that
Hmm.
activity. Kids who sought refuge in school with their friends because they were struggling at home could no longer go to school. And also, it's a lot of pressure for a kid to have to switch to an online learning environment, especially
Hmm.
if there's someone. I know that was hard on Liv, and she was in college
Yeah,
trying to switch to an online learning platform when you have several learning disabilities. It's difficult.
yeah. As of 2021, 1 in 10 young people under the age of 18 experienced mental health conditions following a COVID-19 diagnosis.
Wow. Mm, I can believe that.
Hmm.
As younger people have a tendency to rely a lot on what they hear in the news and all. And it's not, I don't think it's like just a current day issue. I think when you're older, you have the experience that says, okay, the media is not always right. And COVID was definitely a real issue, and everything they were saying was true. But we tend to sometimes internalize the media's announcements and freak out a little bit over them. It's just like when there's a hurricane and we get all the warnings, and those of us who have been through it get really anxious about it.
Hmm.
More than three-quarters of Americans, 76%, say they are not content with the status of mental health treatment in this country. Wow. Can I get an amen to that?
Yeah, amen.
Mm,
And 7 in 10 Americans, 72%, agree that people with mental health conditions face discrimination in their everyday life.
wow.
Yeah, it's because of the lack of awareness and understanding.
It's true.
You
Yeah.
know, you think about how things must have been many, many years ago when there weren't names for things. Like, you know, they called depression the doldrums and things like that. And
Yeah.
like snap out of it, and then if you didn't snap out of it, they put you in a home.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Look at women with postpartum depression back
mhm,
in the old days. People, they called it hysteria, and uh, it just sad to think about. And then last statistic is that only about half of Americans, roughly 53%, said they're familiar with the US mental health care system. So that's a fixable thing, right? We can educate ourselves, and
mhm,
that's what Mental Health Awareness Month is all about. Educating yourself and learning more. Wow.
yeah,
Alarming statistics.
yeah. But we have some help available from NAMI. The NAMI helpline is a free nationwide peer support service providing information, resource referrals, and support to people living with a mental health condition, their family members and caregivers, mental health providers, and the public.
Mm.
So that's awesome.
Also, the NAMI Teen and Adult Helpline offers a direct connection with another young person. So you're not like talking to an old person, you're speaking with another young person who shares similar experiences and is prepared to offer information, resources, and support to help you move through difficult times to a better place, which is great considering all the statistics that we just read about young adults and the struggles that they have.
Mm,
Wow.
that's awesome. It's like peer counseling,
Mm-hmm.
which is good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very good.
yeah. And also if you're experiencing a mental health crisis, you can call, chat, or text 988 to speak with a trained crisis counselor 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's a pretty new thing that they just added. I noticed they let everybody know, that you have to make sure all your contacts in your phone have the area code so that you don't accidentally dial the crisis hotline.
Oh, I gotcha.
Hmm.
Yeah, so you know what I think that's what's wonderful about that is you and I both, neither one of us are really like thrilled about talking to people on the phone that we don't really know that well.
Hmm.
And I said, it's so cool you can text.
Hmm.
And I would be much more likely to text this number to ask, for guidance or whatever than I would to call it.
Hmm.
So I think that's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah, especially teenagers, I would think, would be the same way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow. Okay.
Introverts.
Yeah. Yeah. So we also got some information from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration at SAMHSA. Won't even try to pronounce that as an acronym word, but it is interesting. They had an article on their website called It Is Okay to Not Be Okay, Tips and Resources for Mental Health Awareness Month. And so we wanted to share some of these with you. And the first one is to watch your language. I alluded a little bit to this earlier because I used bad language in that I put the affliction first and not the person. So this is what I mean by that. Watch your language. Use person first, not first person. Use person first language to put the person before the diagnosis. So for instance, instead of saying John is schizophrenic or bipolar, you would say John is a person who
Mhm.
has schizophrenia or who has bipolar disorder. Or another example is instead of describing someone as suffering from a mental illness, which I think is what I said, you should say they're experiencing or living with a mental
Mhm.
illness. The term suffering implies that they're pathetic, right? And
Mhm.
so I get that. I remember I used to make comments like, my poor husband, he's doing this or that. And my friend would say, don't say it like that. Say your husband is strong because he's going through all this or whatever. And I used to think it was silly, but I get it now. I understand the language thing. And then the other tip for watching your language is to make sure that your language promotes inclusivity and respect. So when we use open, compassionate, and equitable language around mental health issues, we empower ourselves and encourage others to find the help that they need.
Very good. Yeah. The next part is to take action. Practice gratitude. Think about what you're thankful for, like supportive family and friends, a safe home, or even a beautiful day or a clean car. Or find something to celebrate, like a recent accomplishment, like we are always saying, celebrate your little accomplishments.
Yeah.
Consciously practicing gratitude may reduce feelings of stress and anxiety. We talked about that on our stress episode. And
Yes.
so that is one of the things you can do to act. And the next thing you can do is volunteer. Hey, guess what? We just did an
Woo!
episode on volunteering.
We
High
really, we
five to
really are
us.
covering the
We
topics,
are.
right?
Volunteering, participating in community organizations, and finding opportunities to help others can provide a positive boost and a sense of purpose. We did say that when we talked about it.
Hmm.
Uh-huh. And another one we can do is to engage in random acts of kindness. Buy a cup of coffee for the person in line behind you, or hold the door open for a stranger, or make food for your neighbor or your colleague. There's many small acts that can brighten someone else's day.
Oh,
And then here's another one we've talked about. Practice mindfulness. Take a few minutes to meditate, take a yoga class, or do some breathing exercises to promote relaxation and reduce stress. We talked about that on our stress episode. And then, of course, it's important to seek help. This is the one obviously based on those statistics we talked about earlier where people get tripped up is they're scared to either get help for themselves or someone else, but they can use the SAMHSA's resources or NAMI's resources to get help because recovery is possible. Don't be afraid to ask for help. That's the moral of that story.
yeah. Mm.
Hmm.
And then the last one is to show compassion and be a lifeline to others. So don't forget to check on people in your family, your parents, kids, older adults, especially. New moms. Check on new moms and make sure they're doing okay. Your body's raging full of hormones after delivering a baby. I say this not from any experience of my own, as my children were adopted, but I do know you're already dealing with this new little life that's completely dependent on you, and your body is going through changes. So, yeah, definitely check on new moms and anyone you know who might need some attention and care.
You're saying check on new moms who have the raging hormones. And I'm like, I'm an old mom with raging.
Yeah, but that's for a different reason.
Yeah.
I check on you pretty regularly, though.
Yeah. Daily. Every 5 minutes.
What would we do without each other? What would we do, baby?
Oh no. We'd call Nami.
For sure.
Or
And,
text.
I often think about that because we are so blessed. Of course, I have AJ, and you and I have each other, though, that we depend on a lot for mutual uh, conversation and venting and things like that. And I often wonder about people who don't have a best friend or a sister or a mom or even a child, because a lot of times a parent and child can have that kind of relationship. I mean, mom was always there for us, has always been there for us, and we've been there for her as well after dad died. And so we have that with mom too, not so much anymore since she's older and not as active, but yeah, we've always kind of depended on one another. But I feel bad for people who don't have that other person. And so NAMI has the resources and they can help you and connect you with people who can listen. So check it out, NAMI.org, NAMI.org. And we'll put those links in our show notes as well. Great topic today.
Yay.
Important message.
Yep.
Awareness.
You have anything for us to marinate on, Tina?
I do. I have an interesting I was getting ready to say marination topic. I have
I
an
don't know if that's a word.
interesting thing for you to marinate on this week. And it is all about my friend Jeff. I always laugh when he says this because it sounds so funny, but he says, don't should on other people. And I had to get him to explain it to me the first time he said it. But he says you shouldn't should all over other people. And I'm like, what do you mean by that, Jeff? And basically what it means is you shouldn't project on other people what you think they should or should not do. So we should not look at other people and say they should beat that kid or they should stop spoiling that child or they should give that kid more attention. I'm using all parent examples, but you should never just assume that you know what's best for someone else when you don't know their circumstances. You shouldn't look at a person who is doing things a certain way and say, oh, they should handle that differently. They should put their mom in a nursing home, or they should keep their mom at home and take care of her at home. Everybody's circumstances are different. And while
Mhm.
one person may be equipped to take care of an elderly parent in their home, another person may not be equipped for that, may not have the resources or the strong health to do that. So you shouldn't should on other people. And I think we have a tendency sometimes to decide that we think people should do a certain thing. I've
Mhm.
had people before think they were helping me and say to me, hey, you know what? You could actually promote your business by doing this. And they'll give me ABC things I
Mhm.
can do to promote my business. I personally may not be comfortable with those things. And so when I don't do those things, I really hope they're not sitting back saying, I told Tina to do that and she didn't do it. Shame on her,
Mhm.
because it's not for them to say what I should do and what I shouldn't do. They can say, hey, have you ever thought about doing this to promote your business? Just a suggestion. And then move on, people, let it go. Don't assume that your idea is the best one for me, because you don't know what my personal situation is, or everything that I've got on my plate, or it's like if somebody asks you to do a simple favor. We had somebody in the family one time ask us to do them a favor, and their favor literally would only take about an hour to do. But the issue with it was that we just, it was not a priority for us.
Mhm.
And we agreed to do it, but on our terms. And they just felt like it would only take them an hour to do this. Why are they not doing it? Well, it was only an hour, but it was an hour that had to be done during a very specific time of the day. And
Mhm.
it just, it was not a priority for us. And they got annoyed with us when we didn't do it. And so that's my thing, is don't should on other people. Don't decide what you want other people to do and then get upset with them if they don't do it. We make our own decisions. And
Mhm.
if somebody promises to do something for you, that's a little different. This was not that situation. We said, yeah, we'll do it eventually, but you have to just be willing to be patient, and if you need them to do something for you, and just understand that you don't know every single thing that's going on in their life. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's the advice for today. Don't should on other people. So marinate on that, people.
Mhm. Sounds good. And to reflect it back on our topic of the day, sometimes people want to talk to you about their problems, but they don't want you to tell them what they should do.
Oh yeah,
You
very
know,
true.
and I've noticed that a lot of people automatically assume somebody telling them about what's going on in their life is not only an invitation, but a request for advice on how to handle everything. And a lot of the times that, in fact, probably most of the time, it's
Yeah,
not what people are looking for. They're looking for validation of their feelings, or just somebody to sit and listen to them and hear them talking things out, because the talking is where the healing or uh the ideas come from. And it's just like you and I were talking. When was that? Yesterday or Wednesday, or was Wednesday? Maybe it was Wednesday. I started talking about some random thing that I was working on, and I was trying to figure out how to do something. And you didn't even get a word out, and I realized the solution to my problem. And it was just because I had that freedom of having the words, the thoughts out of my mouth, that I
yeah.
was able to come up with the solution to whatever it was. It wasn't anything major. I don't remember what it was. It was some small thing I was trying to fix around the house or something, or and I thought of it and I forgot it because I have ADHD. I forgot what it was and didn't write it down. So I'll have to keep
It's
talking
so
to
true,
you.
because I know I'm like a problem solver. And so it's a good reminder to people like me who are problem solvers that you don't have to give the solution when somebody's saying stuff. And a lot of times you'll text me and you'll tell me something that's going on that's upsetting you. And
Mm.
my immediate inclination would normally be to start telling you what you can do to fix it. But if I don't know what to tell you, because it's like, oh my God, that's an impossible situation. I don't know what to do to tell you to fix it. So I, instead of telling you that, I don't know what to tell you, I just write back and say, I'm so sorry, honey, I'm praying, or whatever. And you will always respond back, thank you so much. That was so helpful. And I'm like, I didn't tell you anything. And you said, but you listened. And it's
Half the
true.
time when either of us is complaining to each other about something that's gone wrong, our response to each other is ugh.
So
That's
true.
why
So
you
true.
sent me something the other day and I said ugh, and I sent you back something and you said ugh, because we were both having problems with some stupid thing or
Yeah.
another, something spilled or something, or there was a bug or whatever.
Technology or
And
whatever.
our technology, and we're both ugh, ugh, ugh. And I said, oh, we sound like cave women.
So true. So true. My husband loves to come up with the solutions for everything.
Mm.
And so he has a tendency to should on me sometimes, but then I will say, honey, I wasn't asking you for advice. I was just venting. And he'll say, oh, okay. And he'll back off. Yeah. But yeah, definitely. So don't should on other people. That's the marinade. And
Go clean something and don't should.
yeah, don't shit on anybody and go clean something because it'll make you feel better. And if you're in need of mental health support, definitely check out NAMI.org and AMI.org.
Mhm.
It's going to be
And
a
the other
great
one was a
week.
longer one.
We've got college graduation this week for
Oh, yeah.
Livia. I'm super pumped, excited for her because she
Hmm.
has changed her major and kind of had to delay. And finally, it was so funny to pick her up from school Tuesday, and she was like ready to. You remember when back when, well, you weren't in high school at the same time as me, but I can remember private school girls throwing their saddle locks out of the window.
Uh,
Or you young people that don't know what that is, saddle ox or
Saddle
Oxford
Oxfords.
shoes
Yeah.
that girls and boys used to, or girls used to be required to wear at private
Still,
schools.
they still do, I think.
Do they?
But
Wow.
they're softer now,
Ah,
I think. I could be wrong. They might have given it up altogether, but I think I've seen some of the Catholic kids wearing them.
wow. Well, on the last day of school, senior year, a lot of the kids used to throw their saddle Oxfords out of the window as they were driving away from school. And I can remember driving along, I think it was Paris Avenue, and seeing saddle Oxfords along the road of teenagers that threw their shoes out the window. But that's what I felt like with Liv the other day. She got in the car and she said, I said, how was your last class? And she said, it was good. The critique went well. Well, her last class was her oil painting class, which she absolutely detested. Not for any reason other than that she does not like working with oil paint. She just feels like it's very hard to get the color right and it
Mm.
gets everywhere. She's very much a digital artist and she does like some watercolor and things like that, but oil painting definitely was not her thing. And she was just struggling to get through the class. And she got in the car and she looked at me and she said, I gave all of my paintbrushes and my leftover paint to my classmate.
There you go.
And she said,
Recycle.
basically, I think she was looking for my approval because she knows I spent $300 on brushes and oil paints. But I was like, baby, if your friend can use the paints and the brushes, all power to them because I know you would never pick them up again. But it's over. So something to look forward to for next week, the graduation. And
Yeah.
and school winding down.
Winding down. I'm looking forward to not waking up at 6 a.m.
Yeah,
That's what
I
I'm looking
bet.
forward to.
I haven't had to do that in a while, but for many years I did it just for work,
Yes.
getting up at 5 o'clock every morning to be to work for 7. I
Uh,
don't miss those days. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And now if yesterday I had to get up at 7, I think, or 6:30 to go to physical therapy. And I was like, ugh, I gotta go to physical therapy. I have to get up at 6:30. And 6:30 is really not bad compared to what I used to get up to go to work every day. But
yeah.
anyway, I like being old and semi-retired. That's the only good thing about getting older. Well, it's been a wonderful episode, Priscilla.
Yeah.
And I look
Yep.
forward to seeing everybody next week. But until then, you guys make yourself a priority.
And take care of you.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us. Make sure you subscribe to keep up on all the latest sauce. See you next time.